Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's your brother Bolo V&R, and this is the YouTube platform. Alright, I have three platforms. Bolo V&R 2.0. Let me just introduce you to all three of them first. And Bolo V&R. And also, I have Bolo V&R Clips. I would love for you to subscribe to all three channels. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe, get the content. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. And if you don't, you could always unsubscribe. You know what I'm saying? All right, cool. That's the first thing. Next thing is, I would love for you to join the WhatsApp community. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's your brother Bolo V&R, and this is the YouTube platform. All right, I have three platforms. Bolo V&R 2.0. Let me just introduce you to all three of them first. And Bolo V&R. And also, I have Bolo V&R Clips. I would love for you to subscribe to all three channels. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe, get the content. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. And if you don't, you could always unsubscribe. You know what I'm saying? All right, cool. That's the first thing. Next thing is, I would love for you to join the WhatsApp community or the WhatsApp group, because that way you could get exclusive, notifications for when I'm actually going to put out content. I think every YouTuber has been having issues with YouTube not sending out notifications. Me personally, I've had it a lot. All right, so I recommend you do that. Next thing, please follow me on Twitter. All right, follow me on Twitter. All right, follow me on Instagram. All right, that's my Instagram right there. That's my Instagram, Bolo V&R. Follow me on Instagram. And also, remember the donation link, PayPal Anonymous link. This link is pinned in every single premiere video, live stream, it doesn't matter. This is the way you donate to the platform to support the platform monetarily. My email is right there. You feel me? All right. All the information. Oh, and if you want to support me using the Zelle, that's the Zelle information, the email for the Zelle. And all you have to do is WhatsApp me, email me, or Instagram me, DM me the receipt of the Zelle. All right. Simple, easy, and plain. That's how you do it. So remember, the first thing you do when you come in to watch a video, like the video, y'all. Hit the like button. All right. I want to also introduce you to some playlists on. This is what is now my main channel with most of the content. I have various playlists, but the Great Earthquake and Tsunami, definitely recommend that you guys tap into that. Or you could just hit the all shorts video. All the shorts I do, it's right there, and you could just boop, get to that. That's the way to support your brother. 1 minute shorts, very, very simple, easy. All right, shout out to all the new subs, shout out to all the day ones. Yes, it's your brother Bolo V&R, and I really appreciate y'all, man. So I just wanted to let you know that. Last thing, if you're gonna donate, please give what you can, not your last. I don't want to feel indebted to anybody, which I am not indebted to anybody. I did not take money out your pocket. If you're not gonna give genuinely, please don't give it all, because then I don't want it to be kind of strange where you think I owe you some type of obligation. I put time into all of this that you see, all 500 videos. I put my best into a lot of these videos, most of them if not all, and I'm always improving, always looking to improve. And there's a lot of money that makes this whole setup do what it does. There's a lot of money behind it. You understand? It's not cheap. It's not cheap at all. So if you appreciate the content, those are all the ways that you can show love. You feel me? Alright, so good evening everybody. How you guys doing? We got Patrick in the building. Oh, we got my sister, my Jamaican sister, Miss Genesis. How you doing? Lassam, how you doing? Salute, salute, salute. Welcome everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so please remember guys to like and share the video. coming straight through the gate, it's the best way to actually support the platform. All right, now recently I came across information for Finsac. The report came out. You guys remember the third party, the UIC, headed by Mr. Patterson, right? Now he has a lady that he interviewed that you're seeing on your screen right there, Miss Yola Gray-Baker, and her account of Finsac and what went down is kind of different. It is kind of different. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I just I kind of catch certain parts of this live, so it's new to me. This is a fresh reaction, but I definitely needed to highlight it. And stick around, ladies and gentlemen, because if time permits, I have to go over the speech of Mr. Number 28 and Nigel Clark. There was a lot of glazing going on in Parliament today. Just a lot of male glazing. It was kind of weird what was happening. You heard narratives that does not really apply to what really going on in Jamaica and what is really happening with our economic situation. And I gotta point it out because it's cap. And we're not gonna just sit around and watch them lie to us and give Nigel Clark this kumbaya moment as if he just did the best thing for Jamaica and now he's gone. No, he is a house slave as far as I'm concerned. I've did a video on it already. He's a house slave, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, he is one of the house slaves. He's the house slave that sold out the field slave. Him and Andronis are both house slaves, and I stand on that. I stand on that. Ain't no way we're gonna come out here and allow them to put out false narratives like they actually did something. They ain't do ish. All right, now for the people that want to support the platform monetarily, do remember that the donation link is pinned, at the top of the comment section. Yes, that's the way to donate to the platform. Please excuse me. It's been raining for 3 days straight in Jamaica. Lord have mercy. Woo! Anyway, I've been caught in the rain. In the nighttime too. It's really, really bad. Thank God I won't be doing a lot of talking today because I'll be doing a lot of listening. All right, so let's get into this, man.
Of the Finsac experience. So it's not a joke matter. We must take it very seriously so that no government again gets to do this to us. And here's the sad part. They're doing it even today. As long as you have a non-transparent situation where a government can borrow and spend and hide what they have done and get away with it, you don't have good governance. So we must learn from Finsac and make sure that we hold government and politicians accountable. Let me go right away in welcoming to the stage Mrs. Yola Baker. How are you doing tonight, Mrs. Baker?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate it. Before I watch a little, let our viewers watch a small clip to talk about the subject.
Hey, I forgot to shout out Misha Poyes. Shout out to you, love. Good to see you. Welcome to the platform. For those that are in the bushes and you're not yet subbed up, what are you waiting on? Sub up, man. Hit the notification bell and click all. Okay, let's go.
Just tell us briefly who is Yola Gray-Baker, a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I spent 21 years living in the United States, and in 2008 I returned to Jamaica after my two daughters had graduated from college and about to branch off on their own. One of the times I was there, my husband said to me, "Can you come down to my office because some things are happening that I can't put my finger on, and I need you to look into my general ledger, my books, and see what's going on because I have funds coming in, yet my checks are bouncing all over the place." So I went down to his office and talking to his bookkeeper there, and he was in construction. He has done a lot of the big buildings in Kingston, the Mutual Life building, Lasco. He has done construction in Jamaica for 52 years. So in the construction industry, he was one of the seniors. And his MO, and most of those in the industry, when they get a project, what they would do is go to the bank, because usually the owner of the project doesn't give money up front for you to start. So So the contractor has to do this. So you go to the bank with the contract. Once you've gotten it, depending on the size of the contract, you would apply for a loan, which would be a demand loan. And then this loan is not given to you in lump sum. It is paid to you on a monthly basis. And every month that you collect payment from the owner, you would pay down your loan, whatever the loan agreement asks for. So in looking at his books, I recognized, first of all, that one of the demand loans that he had, the interest that he was being charged was 18%. That's what he signed for, 18% interest on that loan. When I looked at the bank statements that came in from the bank, I realized that when the payments were made, the interest was compounded. It was charged on the demand loan and put in his checking account. The amount that was owed would be put in his checking account, and again charge and interest. So he started at 18%. That's what he signed for. To make a long story short, that 18% within a couple of months ballooned to 120% as interest. So he's going on and struggling really at this point. It's good for him that he had more than a couple of projects doing, but at the same time, the amount of money that he's owing to the bank, he had 4 properties that he had to put up as collateral for the loans, one including our home.
All right, so what she just said coincides with what I heard Mr. Andre Horton say on Andre Stevens' show. There was a standard rate for the US dollar, and then they entered into some type of agreement to be in a fluctuated market. So that 18% that he was paying on his interest on his loan, and it's not just him, this happened to everybody. This is what I understand, and this is what I'm picking up so far. It ballooned to 100 and something percent because it was no longer a flat rate for the US dollar. It became from a flat rate to a fluctuated rate, meaning it could change however. And that change caused the people that owe money to the banks, their interest rates went way up. And this was due to a lack of US dollars circulating in the economy. Again, Andre Stevenson had an interview with Andre Horton. He explained why Finsac was made. It's because of that phenomenon. Now, I don't know if this interview and what they're saying, coming from somebody that actually experienced it, is going to be different. And this is why I'm covering, because we got to look at all sides, especially the side of the people that actually went through losing money. Now, she also just mentioned that he put up his house as collateral. Gentle people, do not put up your house as collateral for getting a loan from the bank. Do not do it. Just do not do it. The bank can be cutthroat if they want to be. Hey, it is what it. Just don't do it. It's not wise. Learn from this more than anything else. Let's listen. Sealed. Big up.
An apartment complex and 2 pieces of land up in top of Stony Hill. I don't remember the area's name. Anyhow, long and short of it is, in him talking to other members of the construction industry has an association called the Master Builders Association. Most of the big contractors are members of the Master Builders Association. So in speaking to them, they all realized they were having the same problems. All of them were having the same problems with their loans. So he's writing to the bank to see why is it the interest rate is jumping so high, and nobody has said, not even the bank manager called to say, well, this is what is happening. And when he went into the bank manager one day in talking to her, she literally, she didn't want to tell him, but she had to tell him what was happening is that there was a run on the banks and they're making arrangement to sell their debts to an overseas entity, which eventually is what happened. And the first overseas entity was Dennis Jocelyn. Dennis Jocelyn was just a debt collector. So he came to Jamaica, see what was happening. Arrangements were made with the Ministry of Finance and the government, and the PNP was in at the time, and that they would take over collections. What we didn't know, that there were so many loans, it was several persons whose loans had ballooned so high that they had reached the point where they just could not afford it, and they could not understand why, because nobody would explain. Well, his bank manager told him, listen, off the record, I'm telling you this, your loan has been passed to a company. Because Dennis Jocelyn formed a company in Jamaica and in Texas called Beale Bank. Beale Bank was not a bank. It was a collection agency. That's number one. In the United States, it is illegal for a collection agency to charge interest on any loan or any debt. It is illegal. So Omar Davis went ahead and changed the Money Lending Act, affording them the opportunity to charge interest in Jamaica. Then Dennis.
Whoa, wait, what? Whoa.
What the hell?
Hold up.
Oh my God, no way.
Hold up. Omar David did what? And this is all allegations. This is all alleged. Alright, I'm not no finance guru. And I did not listen to this interview. I just flipped through. Listen, I caught parts of it. I did not hear this. So, it is illegal to do that in America, but Omar Davis afforded them the opportunity to raise the interest rate. I would love for Omar Davis to come out and actually answer to this and give a good reason why. Explain to us if this is true. I'm going to replay it because that's very interesting. That's very interesting.
Formed a company in Jamaica and in Texas called Beale Bank. Beale Bank was not a bank. It was a collection agency. That's number one. In the United States, it is illegal for a collection agency to charge interest on any loan or any debt. It is illegal. So Omar Davis went ahead and changed the Money Lending Act, affording them the opportunity to charge interest in Jamaica. Then Dennis Jocelyn died, and they...
Did you hear that? Damn.
For a collection agency to charge interest on any loan or any debt. It is illegal. So Omar Davis went ahead and changed the Money Lending Act, affording them the opportunity to charge interest in Jamaica.
I gotta Google that. Yeah, I gotta Google that. I have to Google that. And Omar Davis changed Money Lending Act. Omar Davis changed the Money Lending Act. Costly decision, lead stories. When was this? This was October 18, 2024. Finsac Inquiry Archives revealed Davis admitted Patterson administration ignored advice amid the 1990s financial crisis. What does that even mean? They ignored advice. So they got advice, ignored it. Okay. Cleaning up after Omar Davis. This was 2019. Let me share the screen so you guys can see what I'm looking at, because I really want to make sure that I get to the bottom of this. Guys, please share the live. Share the live. It says here, about a year after PJ Patterson had boasted to thousands of cheering PNP supporters in 1995 that he was bidding goodbye to the IMF. Blah 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 blah. Finance Minister Dr. Omar Davis finance demonstrate pegged. Even coming to the Finsac inquiries indicates, at very least during the meltdown of the financial sector, which began in 1996, Omar Davis was in charge of something that he knew very little about, always giving the impression that then he was the smartest guy on the block. He was, while giving evidence at the inquiry, pleaded in at least one instance naivety. The convenience of that plea rings quite hollow after the ruination of the people's lives. As more is revealed, one gets the impression that the PJ Patterson had given him free rein to run like a blind, bolted bull through the China chop. Oh my God. This is the Observer, by the way. So, you know, hey, the Observer is allegedly, you know, yeah. Anyway, in listening to the evidence coming out of the inquiry, one does not want to make the early conclusion that the set madmen were in charge of the finance ministry during the 1990s. But if this claim cannot be made, we are forced to admit that maybe they were either incompetent of their objectives or were quite narrow and sinister, known only to a select few huddled between closed doors. A connection has never been made between the IMF disengagement in 19... I want to know about this act. Omar Davis during the 1990s were train wrecks set on a pad. This is just bashing. I want details, man. I want specifics. I want to know specifically about what this lady just said. That's what I want to know. See? Go back. Lord have mercy. Why is this? Why is it doing this to me right now? Thank you. Okay. Omar Davis changed the Money Lending Act. Maybe I should ask the question. I should put did Omar Davis well, I don't know if he did, but Dr. has been hailed for strengthening the regulation of the financial sector improvement. So I'm just gonna lean towards the lady is right. Too well bison rhino brave. What? Huh? Okay. Yeah. I'm just gonna lean towards that she actually is correct. And I'm gonna assume that she is. That he changed this act. And not making any excuses for him, but maybe he didn't know what the hell he was doing. That could be a possibility from what I just read a while ago, because that's the claim that the Observer is making, that he made some decisions and him and PJ Patterson did not heed to some financial advice that they were given. Unfortunately, if that is true, there's people that suffer immensely, and this lady right here is telling that story. So let's go. Let's take it back a little bit.
Collection agency. Off the record, I'm telling you this, your loan has been passed to a company. Because Dennis Jocelyn formed a company in Jamaica and in Texas called Beal Bank. Beal Bank was not a bank. It was a collection agency. That's number one. In the United States, it is illegal for a collection agency to charge interest on any loan or any debt. It is illegal. So Omar Davis went ahead and changed the Money Lending Act, affording them the opportunity to charge interest in Jamaica. Then Dennis Jocelyn died, and they reformed the company as Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation, and Jason Rudd is the person out of the United States who now heads Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation. So all our assets were basically turned over to them.
Who did that? Who turned over the asset? The banks or the government?
The banks turned over the assets to, well, the Ministry of Finance formed two companies, Finsac and Refin Trust. Finsac is who purchased, which is only words, because they didn't pay money, the debts from the banks. And the insurance companies as well who was in trouble. So once those debts were passed over to them, unknown to us, the bank, the business person, the debtors, we had no idea. We are getting letters now from Jamaica Redevelopment basically telling us that they owe our debts and this is what we need to pay now.
It's Redevelopment Foundation or Redevelopment?
Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation. Why that name? I don't know, because they're not a foundation in the true sense of the word foundation.
Can I ask you a question, just for the clarity of our viewers? So we have the government on the one hand, we have the debtors, that's persons who borrowed money, and you have the bank. So three
Right.
groups, right?
Right.
The debtors borrowed money from the banks. There became a problem with the banks, meaning the banks were now calling the loans. Was that the case?
They weren't really calling them in. They were just the interest
Why did they
rate
sell
just
them?
kept going up and up and up because my husband borrowed $10 million. He paid back $52 million. His interest rate when he signed the loan was 18%. Within months, his interest rate was 120%.
So he borrowed at 10%, and every time he gets a new statement, he's seeing
The
a new
interest
rate.
going up a little bit more.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
The point where, let's say,
Emotional damage.
6 months to 12 months, it's now 120%.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it just came out now. The banks are not dealing with you now because your debt's gone to Jamaica Redevelopment. So if you go to the bank, my husband borrowed $10 million. He paid back $52 million. His interest rate when he signed the loan was 18%. Within months, his interest rate was 120%.
So he borrowed at 10%, and every time he gets a new statement, he's seeing
The
a new
interest
rate.
going up a little bit more.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
To the point where, let's say, in about 6 months to 12 months, it's now 120%.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it just came out now. The banks are not dealing with you now because your debt's gone to Jamaica Redevelopment. So if you go to the bank, they're going to tell you have to go to Jamaica Redevelopment.
But before we go to the redevelopment, so while he was with the bank, what was the name of that bank that he was with at the time?
NCB.
NCB. So he borrowed $10 million from NCB at 18%.
Yeah.
Within 6 to 12 months, it has gone to.
It can't be a coincidence. The same NCB where we are here all the stories about the same NCB where people are coming on social media talk about over the years. Am I same NCB? Somebody in that chat. Oh no, tell me if me correct. Me not gonna say it out loud, but I the same NCB where people are come on social media a ball about them can't find this and they can't find that and they miss this and they miss that. Are the same bank there? Ladies and gentlemen,
something not right, my wisdom warriors. Something is not right. Tell about them.
I know, so me I gonna call it like it is, you know. If what this lady is saying is true,
All lies will be exposed. That's all.
I see one.
And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way.
So while he was with the bank, what was the name of that bank that he was with at the time?
NCB.
NCB. So he borrowed $10 million from NCB at 18%.
Yeah.
Within 6 to 12 months, it has gone to 120% incrementally.
120%.
He would have paid, you said at that point, $55 million?
Yeah, $52 million.
$52 million. And then at that point, go ahead.
And by the time he's getting letter from Jamaica Redevelopment now, his interest is 120%. So he now owes 87 million.
Okay, so without
from 10 million, he paid 52, and he now owes 87.
87. But follow me for a second here. So while he was paying this and watching the interest rate going up and trying to get answers, they were busy selling the debt to the Jamaica Redevelopment Fund without him knowing.
Without us knowing anything.
So he finds out eventually that now.
Eventually, and then that was when we made the decision, and it was him talking to his fellow construction people at the Master Builders. We decided to form the Finsac Association.
Got it. So follow me here. So when he finally realizes now that his debt is now owned by the Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation and no longer by NCB, that's where he realized there's a serious problem. And you guys decide you're going to try to fight this by forming the Finsac Association.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
Got it.
So we formed the Finsac Association, and an attorney, David Wong-Ken, who was an attorney in Jamaica then, also was Finsac, and he got in touch with us and decided to represent, well, not really represent us, but he gave us a room and
sorry about that, people.
his
I have to touch that box.
Paying this and watching the interest rate going up and trying to get answers, they were busy selling the debt to the Jamaica Redevelopment Fund without him knowing.
Without us knowing anything.
So he finds out eventually that now.
And then that was when we made the decision, and it was him talking to his fellow construction people at the Master Builders. We decided to form the Finsac Association.
Got it. So follow me here. So when he finally realizes now that his debt is now owned by the Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation and no longer by NCB, That's where he realized there's a serious problem, and
Exactly.
you guys decide you're going to try to fight this by forming the Finsac Association.
Right,
Okay,
right.
got it.
So we formed the Finsac Association, and an attorney, David Wong-Ken, who was an attorney in Jamaica then, also was Finsac, and he got in touch with us and decided to represent, well, not really represent us, but he gave us a room in his office where we could operate as the association.
What's
So
his name?
he gave us a room at his office.
What was his name?
David Wong-Ken.
David Wonken. Is that a white-looking fellow?
He's short, yeah, half
Yeah.
Chinese, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think I see him in one of the videos.
Yeah.
Very
So-
articulate young man, right? Who could clearly,
Yeah, but he did not really. Probably you're talking about Kent Gammon, because David Wong-Ken. David Wong-Ken didn't really spend much time. What he did was gave us a room in his office and advised us legally what we needed to do or not do. One of the first things that we did was that he gave us a form letter that we would send to Jamaica Redevelopment asking for a statement of accounts.
So, all right, so let's get personal for a second now. How did this affect your family and your business? Just you personally, at the time when you were now moving from a $10 million loan becoming $2 million, becoming 87,000.
It's just struggling, and now trying as best you can to save your house. To save your
because your house was a collateral as well.
One of the collateral.
So you had 4 different collaterals. You have 3 properties.
Right.
That's a part of the whole project and other things, plus your house that was put up as collateral. And by the way, most small business and startups, because of the nature of financing in Jamaica, uses their home as a collateral.
As a collateral, yeah.
That's normal. That's very normal. It's a risk that you take, but it's not unusual to do that.
No, it's not.
It's not unusual, but it should not be something I recommend that you do ever again. It shouldn't be the norm anymore. Alright, guys? I still stand on that. It should not be. Given what we've seen happen to these people in this era right here, we should not make the same mistakes that they made and go out of our way and put up our house or our land and stuff like that to borrow money. I don't recommend we do that. Nah, not anymore.
Unusual is for you to get a loan that within months move from 18% to 120%. That is unusual. What caused that? What was causing this high interest rate?
Well, nobody could explain to us. Nobody could or would explain to us what was happening. I know that David himself, he had a property out at St. Thomas that he was losing, and eventually he made arrangements, and for some reason, shortly after that, he decided to leave Jamaica. He just couldn't operate here anymore.
Now, give our listeners and viewers an understanding of the time span in which things went from, because I'm sure there's a point where you're just doing business. You have built developments, you've sold developments. This is going okay. You borrowed 18%, that was okay. You pay back your loans, your revolving loans, you're moving on. So that was happening before. What time period did you suddenly have this shift whereby the lending environment just got suddenly different, where you're now seeing
it was less than a year, and actually how we found out, my husband had gone into the bank to do something, and he knew the bank manager personally, and in talking to her, she told him what was going on, and she wasn't supposed to have, but she did, because it's somebody he knew personally, and she explained to him what was going on and that she no longer had control over anything that was going on. It was now in the hands of the government.
Right.
Yeah.
So what was going on? What is it that was happening? Why would Jamaica suddenly move from a situation where you, a small business owner, as an 18% loan, and it's now jumping up to 120%? What was going on? What was the reason for this?
Well, at that time, we really didn't know, because no explanations were given to us. And although after we formed the association, we started writing letters to the finance minister, who was Omar Davis at the time. As a matter of fact, there is a speech that Bruce Golden gave in, I think it's 2008, his parliamentary speech in Parliament, where he mentioned what was happening to the Finsac people, and that something had to be done to alleviate the situation, and it had to come from the government. He was the only government minister that has ever spoken words that would be of benefit to us, the business people.
And that was in 2008,
2008. I think it's 2008.
Because he was in office between
He was in office,
2007 and 2011, right?
Right.
Now, prior to that, so Finsac was happening around 19. What year were you experiencing this? 1990?
19. It's about 98, 99.
98, 99.
It could be up to 2000. Could be up to 2000.
Okay. So at that point, the PNP was in government now from 1989.
Right. Right.
You know, all the way through to, I think they lost the 2007 election.
Yeah.
So all that time they were in power. So government affects interest rates in a country based on their monetary policies. If government is borrowing in the market, then if their borrowing rate that you're getting is competitive, meaning it's better than what the banks are getting from you, the small
Right.
man.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Right. So what will happen is if government is giving a higher return, meaning giving higher interest to those who are lending to government, meaning because anybody can buy a bond in government, treasury bonds and so on.
Yeah.
And you're going to have more and more banks now wanting to lend to the government.
To lend to the, exactly.
To you. And
Exactly.
so your debt now becomes an unprofitable debt for the bank, and they want to get rid of you to
Get
move
rid of
to
me.
buying that. My goodness.
But at the same time, they want to get rid of us, but they're not getting rid of our property. So they find ways to keep the properties.
Oh yes, because the property is collateral. So what they
Yeah.
have done by pushing up the interest rates, right? They make the loan unserviceable.
That's
by you.
right.
So you are
That's
unable
right.
to service, and now they can simply come in and take your collateral.
That's right.
And they can then sell your collateral for any amount they want.
In the amount they wanted to. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
I tell you something. There was
Sell your collateral for any amount they want. What you mean? And I'm live on Bolo V&R 2.0 too, y'all. And what I'm pissed about is that on both of my platforms, YouTube ain't sending out my notifications, man. I got smoke with YouTube, man, but that's another conversation. Guys, like and share the video. All right. What is being revealed in this dialogue right here is very, very interesting, to say the least.
Government treasury bonds and so on.
Yeah.
And you're going to have more and more banks now wanting to lend to the government.
to lend to the, exactly.
To you. And
Exactly.
so your debt now becomes an unprofitable debt for the bank, and they want to get rid of you to
Get
move
rid of
to
me.
buying that. My goodness.
But at the same time, they want to get rid of us, but they're not getting rid of our property. So they find ways to keep the properties.
Oh yes, because the property is collateral. So what they
Yeah.
have done by pushing up the interest rates, right? They make the loan unserviceable.
That's
by you.
right.
So you are
That's
unable to service, and now they can simply come in and take your collateral.
That's right.
And they can then sell your collateral for any amount they want.
In the amount they wanted to. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
I tell you something. There was the accounting firm, the international accounting firm. I think it's Deloitte and Touche.
Yeah, they want them to, yeah.
Deloitte told the government when they formed Finsac that it was illegal for a government to, because Finsac is not a government agency, it's a private company.
Wow.
Okay, and they also formed Refin Trust, which was also a private company.
What's that? What's that trust?
Refin, REFIN Trust, TRUCST. Up to this day, I don't know what the purpose of Refin Trust was.
Spell that again. RE.
REFIN. It's refinancing. I think that was supposed to be
Trust.
that they were supposed to be working with the debtors to see how they can repay the loan, to give them a time, to give them an amount that they could afford. I think that was what it was about. But when Deloitte and Touche realized that the properties were being sold, they told them a government cannot form a private entity and use it to take people's property and dispose of them. It is illegal.
So really, the government had a choice to make, apart from who created the problem, because I think there are two sets of things creating a problem here. One is those who are running the financial institutions themselves may have been culpable in some practices, and then now the government, which is responsible for regulations, they may have been lax in their regulations. And then thirdly, the monetary policy, which created a high interest rate environment that causes the small and medium businesses now to not be able to access credit, that also created a problem.
Exactly.
And then they compounded this problem now by building a solution that is more geared towards helping people take away your assets rather than helping you find a solution.
Wow. So, bro. So all right. Let's put it into context. Did Omar Davis understand what he was doing, or didn't he? That's the main question. Because whether he knew or not, the judgment is going to waver. If he was incompetent and he didn't know, and he genuinely was trying to do something that is for our best interest, that's a big difference. But if he did not know and he did something, what he did, the actions that he took really hurt the people. The people that are hurt don't care if you're Omar Davis. They don't care if you're Nigel Clark. They don't care who you are. They were hurt. They were the ones that lost their properties. Right? Now it's an amalgamation of things. So everybody has a point then. The blame can be spread around when it comes on to the Finsac era. Blame can be put onto PJ Patterson, Mr. Omar Davis. Blame can be put onto the actual system itself, that everybody was affected by it in other countries. What happened to Jamaica, it affected other countries. But the decision that other countries made was what made the difference for them. So it seems as if, what I'm understanding from this, in trying to help Omar Davis and PJ Patterson, look like they hurt the people that were in those positions. And this is what I'm understanding. And if this is true, take out politics out of it. The people should get an apology. They should get an apology for their incompetence. And the full Finsac report needs to be released so we can finally put this to bed. Because one of the things that is happening is that if we really truly want transparency in Jamaica, one of the things that is happening is that one side of the party is using against the other side. But the blame is there for the other side too. The whole thing that made that whole environment happen, it wasn't just the PMP, according to what I've read and understood and what was shown to me. The JLP got a lot of blame to be put in there as well. So, this is why I don't like the Jamaican style of politics here in Jamaica. Ryan Campbell, what up, my brother? I'm live on both platforms, Bolo V&R and Bolo V&R 2.0. I got smoke with YouTube. My people is not getting my notifications. But anyway, guys, if you sub up, click the bell and click all. And join my WhatsApp community. Number is 1-876-451-6535. Reach out to me. And yeah, you could join that way. Hit the like button, for crying out loud. That helps as well. So other people, it can reach their algorithm. And thanks in advance for doing so. The ones that do, or the ones that do after I remind them. All of you, once you do it, thank you. But anyway, yeah, that's the situation with Finsac from what I'm understanding already. Let's play some more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
So it went on, and still we are hoping to the point where this is where Kent Gammon, the other attorney, who came in and tried to help us representing some of the debtors and trying to make arrangements with them, to no avail. But even himself did not realize the deep, I would call it any more than criminality that was going on within the institutions. He never realized it, because when I tried and explained it to him one day, he said, Yola, that can't happen. I said, well, trust me, it is. He eventually realized.
Let's hear a little bit from the what the news had to say about this a few years ago.
And welcome to the Business Day. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Almost 3 decades after the financial meltdown of the 1990s, Jamaicans still do not have an account of the circumstances surrounding the events. That's because the report from the Commission of Inquiry, which examined the financial sector adjustment company Finsac, has not been published. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark says the company is almost dissolved, but still no word on the report. TVJ's Andy Legley explains.
Over the last 10 years, the government spent more than $150 million on the Finsac Commission of Inquiry. Since 2009, the Commission has promised to release the findings of its report. Those promises have gone unfulfilled, and since then, the Commission has had challenges of its own. For example, in 2010, the court ordered that the chairman of the Commission, Justice Boyd Perry, be removed from the post because of suspected biases. And in 2016, Secretary to the Commission of Inquiry, Fernando de Peralta, passed away. Now, despite failing to deliver year after year, the government continued to pump money into the inquiry. And now this.
Over 12 months ago, we had a send-off for the board of Finsac. It was reduced to, I think, at that time, it had 2 staff members or 1 staff member. So Finsac is virtually wound up.
But still no report. When quizzed about the long-awaited report, the finance minister had this to say.
Jamaica definitely needs an account of that period of time. We've had stops and starts. We had commissioners pass away, and so forth. We have allocated money, and report hasn't come. So the government is considering the best way to ensure that Jamaican people at least get the information that was obtained during the course of the Commission's hearing. And once we determine what the best way for that to happen is, we'll make that public.
So still no idea when the report will be made public, despite Audley Shaw, when he was finance minister on his return to office in 2016, making a promise to do so after none was released during the last PMP administration from 2012 to early 2016. And while the nation is left to wait, members of the private sector believe the lengthy delay may be a result of damning findings which the government is reluctant to release.
Are we as a country ready to have a truth and reconciliation moment for what we all collectively did and what we allowed policymakers to get away with? Because they got away with murder.
I think maybe it could be fair of what is included in a report like that. I feel as if sometimes as a country, we sometimes need, to hear the truth, but we don't know how to handle the truth. So sometimes things take time, and people are afraid to say certain things because of the reaction.
The Finsac Commission of Inquiry was set up in 2008 to consider the cause of the financial meltdown of the 1990s. The commission was tasked with reviewing the operations of Finsac in relation to delinquent borrowers. This is to determine if the borrowers were treated fairly in the sale and disposal of their assets. Andrew Laidley, TVJ News.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I'm hearing you now.
Right.
But Kerry that they referred to, he was supposed to be the chairman of the inquiry. I was on a flight to Florida one morning, and so was he. I met him on the flight. And during the flight, I went and sat down beside him, and he was explaining to me the issues that he was having. He was, I think, a constitutional court judge at one time. He had retired and returned to Jamaica. His wife wanted to go into business, a small business, doing same thing I was doing, fashion designing. When he went to the bank to apply for a loan for her, he said the interest rates were ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And he told her, listen, not at these interest rates. It didn't make any sense. And that was it. He never had any loan.
Good for him.
I don't see how he could have compromised anything.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe he was too unbiased. Because if you're unbiased, you're going to compromise the corruption.
But Mr. Patterson, I tell you something. When I listened to that and what Dr. Clark had to say, somewhere along the line and early in the story is the fact that all those government ministers, PNP, JLP, had no intention of that report coming out. Mm-hmm.
That's the part of it. How you doing, Miss Chicago? I'm live over by Bolo V&R as well. That's the part of it right there. Bams, baby, what's up? Don't know what to make of this, Bolo. See, this is what you call all sides of the story. We have heard from the JLP, we have heard from the PMP, and now we're hearing from the people of Jamaica, a victim of Finsac. So, my conclusion already to this interview is that no party involved is blameless. The financial sector, there was a meltdown and it happened to everywhere. But I also have to say that the reaction, although it was said it was done in a way that they were trying to save these people, to hold on to what they have. The intentions was good. However, the decision that she's talking about, where he changed the Lending Act and made something that was illegal in the States legal in Jamaica, that part right there, whether you want to say he was ignorant and he was naive, he still got to take the L. That's Mr. Omar Davis. He still got to take the L if that's true. He got to take the L. It doesn't matter if your intentions were good. With something so important as holding on to people's property, if you don't have the knowledge, why didn't you and Mr. Patterson take the advice of the financial entities that was giving you advice? According to an article that I just read from the Observer, you guys got advice and didn't take it in that time. Why didn't you take it? And if I'm conflating anything and mixing anything up, I'm more than welcome to invite Mr. Omar Davis on the platform to, ask him some questions from us normal citizens of Jamaica. And if you would so oblige, hey, I'd be excited. And I'm sure the citizens of Jamaica would be as well. So I would love to stretch that invite out. Hey, as a matter of fact, I would love to have Mr. Omar Davis, Mr. Patterson, and Mr. Mark Golden on the platform at the very same time, discussing this situation. Not quarreling, not doing a bidding to try and win the next election. I want an honest conversation about Finsac and the report and the people that actually suffered from those things. And I have to give Mr. Patterson a little bit of pushback. Although he says putting up your house was a normal thing, normal doesn't mean wise or right. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I want to ask Mr. Patterson a question. Well, Mr. Patterson is not here. I'm just doing a reaction. But what question would you like to ask him? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I would love to have all three of those men. Wagwan Christopher, big up. I would love to have all three of those men. No, I'm not gonna listen. I could not stand Andrew Holness on my platform. I'm gonna be honest with you. Although I'm a journalist and I'm supposed to be a professional, I'm a human being. I can't be a hypocrite. I don't trust that person. I don't trust anything about their organization, the individuals that are associated with him. I don't trust nothing about them. So I could not in good faith invite the devil on my platform. I'm sorry. And I do see him as the devil because he's working for the devil allegedly. All right, the beast system that they're trying to put in place, this digital, all fully digital stuff. Pay attention, ladies and gentlemen. Go watch my video that I posted, my live that I did this morning with Mr. Shuttleworth. He was dropping them gems and them bombs on us. All right, go watch that video with Mr. Shuttleworth. All right, the Apostle Jeffrey Shuttleworth. I did a live this morning on Bolo V&R 2.0. Go check it out. All right, let's continue.
Last term of Dr. Ordashaw's ministry at Ministry of Finance. I used to visit with him occasionally down here to see how things are going, and he said things were going on well. There was a lady that he had hired to deal only with the Finsac, with the commissioners, anything they needed. It was her responsibility. And this September, the October, the November, the December, I visited Ordashaw's office, and the last thing he told me was that the report was almost on the way to the Governor General for him to take it to Parliament. By January, I hear Ordashaw left that post. So where is the report?
How can you spend? This is so typical of government. How can you spend over $150 million over two administrations and tell the Jamaican people you don't have a report for them?
Let me tell you why, Mr. Patterson. I'm going to read a letter, the same letter on my Inspector Gordon letterhead. Where is the letterhead?
Yes.
So I'm not making up anything.
Hold it up again so we can see it. Hold it fully in the screen. Hold it there. Up a little bit more. Up some more. There we go. My Inspectors and Gordon. Go ahead now. Read it.
It is a letter written to Errol Campbell, who was manager at Finsac, and signed by no less than Mrs. Sandra Minor Phillips, who is wife of Dr. Peter Phillips, who was the Minister of Finance.
Sorry, so Mrs. Phillips, what's her role in this?
She is Miles Fletcher Gordon is the firm they represent Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation.
Got it. So watch me carefully. Finsac is a PNP creation. The law firm representing them is the representative from that law firm is the wife of the finance minister.
Yeah.
Now that is another bombshell, ladies and gentlemen. If I'm keeping it a buck, I'm keeping it a stack. I told y'all I'm not JLP or PNP, I'm not UIC, I'm not none of that. So you telling me allegedly that Omar Davis's wife ran the law firm that was assigned to the Finsac company?
Something not right, my wisdom warriors. Something is not right. Tell about them.
Something ain't right, bro. That is a conflict of interest. I'm keeping it a stack. That is a conflict of interest. All right? Ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way. I'm sorry, bro. If I can praise, I can damn near criticize. And I'm keeping it a stack. That is not Peter Phillips, I say? Hold on, wait, let me listen to that again. Let me get that straight again.
And signed by no less than Mrs. Sandra Minor Phillips, who is wife of Dr. Peter Phillips, who was the Minister of Finance.
Oh.
Sorry, so Mrs. Phillips, what's her role in this?
She is Miles Fletcher Gordon is the firm they represent Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation.
Got it. So watch me carefully. Finsac is a PNP creation.
Right.
The law firm representing them is the representative from that law firm is the wife of the finance minister.
Yes.
of Jamaica. Yes. And the manager of Finsac, who was the manager?
So the law firm representing them is the wife of the finance minister. And what else?
Finsac?
Errol Campbell.
Errol Campbell. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know his affiliation? Do you know what else was
no, he was put in charge of managing the whole Finsac. He was managing Finsac to see it.
All right, so that is still a conflict of interest. Peter Phillips' wife is the one that run the firm that actually is assigned to Finsac. That is a conflict of interest. We have to keep it a stock. It is. The nepotism, the cronism, the blurring of the lines, you know, it's just, it seems like Jamaica has been operating this way for a very, very long time. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Yo, you know how I know these people are messing with my numbers, bruh? I notice a cap where the number goes, and it never goes over that cap in who is watching me when I'm live, especially when I'm talking about certain things. They are staggering my numbers, man. Because I'm up here telling the truth, or I'm up here deciphering some of the dark, evil, wicked things of this Mason order. You guys gonna attack my platform? Well, guess what? All of my subscribers, I'm taking my talents to Patreon. I cannot operate on YouTube and speak the truth on YouTube without getting shadow banned. I'm taking my talents to Patreon, and $10 a month. Hey, you see the amount of content I put out on a daily. So $10 a month ain't nothing. $10 a month. I'm putting out my Patreon. Every live stream I do between now and December, I will be advertising my Patreon. This is ridiculous. And for everybody that's listening to me, right, that really support the platform, the Patreon link is coming, man. I'm gonna put it on all of my channels. Alright? And one of the best things that you can do to make sure that these wicked, evil corporations don't stagger people like me on this app, Yeah, you gotta have our number, our email, all of that. Reach out to me on WhatsApp, 1-876-451-6535. This is ridiculous. How are my numbers growing? I got 7,000 subs, bruh. And no matter when I go live, I can't see over 200 people in the chat. Come on, man. Stop playing, bro. Stop playing. It's at that point now where I know y'all is messing with me. I know y'all is messing with me, bruh. And for the people that watch me, stop hiding in the bushes. All right? Let YouTube know that you're real people. Stay typing in the chat. Okay? Stay typing in the chat. Stay typing in the chat. It helps the algorithm of the video. And I'm sorry I'm going off on a tangent, man, but they really be pissing me off, man. I ain't lying. They really be suppressing my numbers, bro. I be putting out videos and I don't see 1,000 likes on them, and I'm like 1,000 views on it. And I'm like, huh? What? Huh? That should be the standard now. All of my videos should have 1,000 views, at least 1,000 views with 7,000 people on the platform. Come on, man. Stop playing with me, man. Stop playing with my channel. The cooperation. The beast. The beast. Stop playing with my platform, the beast. The beast system. Because we telling the people no to NIDS. The beast system. Stop playing with my platform, bruh. Yeah, I got smoke with the beast. How you doing, Miss Collins? I got smoke with the beast, man. I'm live on both my platforms right now that's monetized. I got smoke with the beast. Stop playing with my platform, bruh. Yeah, this is not just, I'm not just blowing hot air. This is facts. Y'all is messing with my platform, bruh. This shit crazy, bro.
That the loans, whatever needed to be done.
Where's he from?
Hey,
was he a part of it?
Patreon is right there, you heard? How you doing, Miss Genesis? Miss Genesis jumping on the other one. The Patreon is right there, baby. I'm doing $10 a month on the Patreon. That's where I'm gonna take my content, bro. I'm gonna give you guys fluff on here, just fluff. No hardcore reasoning. I'm just gonna give you guys fluff on YouTube. Because YouTube is not a space, apparently, right, where you can speak the unadulterated truth. Right? It's all what the system wants people to think and not the truth. It's all narratives that they want you. They just want you to be a part of the go along, get along gang. Well, guess what? I'm not designed like that, bruh. I'm not. And this is why I stopped doing YouTube the first time. I don't like lies, and I'm not gonna promulgate lies. And if I made a mistake about something and put out something that is not accurate, I'll be the first one to come up here and apologize that, listen, I was in error and I apologize, and this is what it really is. And I am not one of those persons that is going to argue facts and evidence. Remember the other day when I came out with a Finsac report? You see what I'm reviewing right now? This lady's testimony of that. And what she talking about is a little bit different from what I understood a few like 7 days ago, right? So when I incorporate all the information that I now have, including hers, I'm now coming to a new understanding. You get me? We in the learning process, bruh. Come on, man. Stop playing with me, YouTube. The corporation, the beast. I see y'all. I mean, well, Mr. Shuttleworth already told me that y'all was going to do this. Y'all was going to attack people's platforms that actually are speaking truth. Yeah, that's waking up the people, trying to open up their third eye. Joanne Sinclair, salute.
Any other previous organizations before?
Not that I know, not that I'm aware of.
And Jamaican? You're Jamaican?
Jamaican, yes.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
No, this letter refers to one of the debtors. I'm not going to call the name. I'm going to put my name instead.
Yes.
It says, attention, Mr. Errol Campbell. Dear sir, We represent Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation, Inc., and have been asked to respond on its behalf to yours to it of November 3, 2008. As our client is the entity that stepped into your shoes as creditor of the Bakers, we are astounded that you feel free to copy them, and she put in parentheses, an adverse party in the litigation of caption, with your correspondence to our client, or to even contemplate divulging information to them at all, as any such communication would seem to constitute a breach of your contract with our client. We remind you that under your contract with our client, you have transferred to our client, and she underlined and put in bold, all of your rights to give and receive reports in relation to all loan agreements and credit and security reports. Furthermore, as of the closing date of your agreement with our client, all rights and responsibilities with respect to the servicing and administration of the assets passed to our client. Given the terms of our agreement, including those referred to above, it is inconceivable that you could be, 1, contemplating giving any information of any kind to the debtors after the transfer of your interest in the receivable to our client, and 2, asking our client to delay the exercise of its rights following the court's order that it is entitled to exercise. Please ensure that you do not give any report of any kind to any debtor. You may instead refer them to our client for any information they need in relation to their account. We would also be obliged if you will tell us to whom the attorney that represented the client is, as we know that you have also copied him with your letter. And it's signed by Sandra Minor Phillips.
Yes. So just to be clear, Ms. Phillips was representing
Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation.
Right. And who is the client she's speaking about? So
well, it's one of the debtors. No, the client that she's speaking is Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation.
And he's writing to a debtor, to one of the debtors.
Yeah, apparently one of the debtors must have been, Errol Campbell is the manager at Finsac. The person must have gone into him to discuss making arrangements for her loan.
Right.
So
and the manager of Finsac, she's saying, does not have the right to communicate anything to the debtor. Because Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation, which is not Jamaican, by the way, is now the owner of the assets in question, and have taken over the file in question, the debt in question. So they're saying there should be no consultation between the debtor and Finsac's management.
That's right.
The debtor must come directly to Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation,
and Jamaica Redevelopment will make whatever arrangements. Well, one of the thing about it is that,
hey, I'm not gonna lie, that sounds crazy as hell. No contact between the debtor and Finsac, only this entity called the Jamaica what? Refin, RIREFIN. That's crazy, bro.
How would the debtor even know that they need to go to the Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation?
Right. Because the debtor was not formally informed that the debts have been taken over. Exactly. They just find out along the way.
Along the way, yeah.
So this is the way. So the government really doesn't have no respect at all for the citizens of the
No, they don't.
They sold your assets, and not even a courtesy of letting you know that they're about to sell their assets, or B, that they have sold their assets. They just sell it and it's done. Wow.
In the agreement that the Jamaica government made with Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation, in this agreement, there's a clause that stipulates that any debtor who files suit against Jamaica Redevelopment, the Jamaican taxpayers would pay the legal cost of Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation.
I wonder if people understand this. So what they have done, the agreement between the government, and they always do this, the agreement between the government and this so-called Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation, foreign debt collector, right?
Foreign debt collector.
Is that the Jamaican people will not have any legal recourse against the Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation, and if there's any kind of legal action, the taxpayers of Jamaica will pay for it. So we are going to pay on both ends. We're going to pay lawyers to go after you, and we're going to pay by our tax dollars to fund
Jamaican, and they are collecting. Remember how much they bought out the debt for? 5 cents in the dollar.
Yes. In fact, in one case, I was looking at a story recently where they say in one of the situations, they bought the asset for about $30 million or $29 million, and they resold that asset for over $90 million.
That's right, and that happened in probably most of the cases.
So, which means there was really no loss at all on the debt, you know. So they stole your asset because they took it away from you.
Yeah.
If, for example, if and correct me if I'm wrong, if they had come back to the various debtors and said, listen, your loan is underwater because of the high interest rate policies of the government, so we're going to have to settle debt. So we're now going to have to sell your assets and whatever, if you can't find a way to service it. And now they pursue to sell your assets. Let's say that you had a debt of, your husband had a debt of $87 million, according to them. Supposing your assets could have been sold for $150 million.
They have nothing to lose, so.
Right. So they'll get back their $87 million.
And then some.
But what I'm saying is, if they had done it the proper way, let's say they did it, they had to sell it because you can't service the debt. And not with Jamaica Redevelopment, meaning our government using a proper facility, not a fake, not getting an outsider to do this, and sell your assets properly on the open market for, let's say, an $87 million property, it's sold for $120 million, for argument's sake. Pay off the debt of $87 million, and you don't get the difference.
But let me tell you something, let me address that. There were several debtors. My husband was one of them who could have sold his property for more, and they refused it.
Exactly.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, man. This whole situation is ridiculous. At this point, what is being explained here is wow. You know what I'm saying? Coming from the people that actually it happened to, their experience. That's wild. That's wild. I ain't even gonna cap. But let me know what y'all think, man. So far, man. Well, how long I've been on here? An hour and 11 minutes. Okay, cool.
I heard that there are many persons who could have you could have settled your debt properly. As a matter of fact, given the level of the collateral, all they have to do is to restructure the debt. Not even to sell it. Just simply say, listen, we can restructure it. So we're going to increase the length of the loan period and cut the interest accordingly, so that nobody loses. The bank doesn't lose, and you come out, over time, right? So, but they wouldn't do that because they had a plan. The plan was to steal the Jamaicans.
And you tell me, and people who do that belong in jail, and on top of it, Dr. Clark turn around and don't even address the debtors. The common decency. I'm going to read you some of the events that took place with debtors, what they went through. There was a gentleman in Mandeville. He had his loan with Workers Bank. When Finsac hit him, his doctor told him he should not go to the inquiry because his heart can't deal with it. He came one day. His name was Harold Ramsey. Mr. Ramsey was customer of the year for 2 years straight in his bank. The bank manager told him if it wasn't for his account, the bank would have gone under long ago. Mr. Harold Ramsey, he lost 17 properties.
Wow.
17 properties. I have a letter here that I had written to Prime Minister Andrew Holness on behalf of Mr. Ramsey. I have just recently received certain documents from Mrs. Ramsey regarding her husband's business debt with Workers Savings and Loan Bank, and I attach herewith records that were obtained from the bank showing 3 current accounts as follows. And I list the numbers on the accounts. On the first account, it clearly states there was apparently no agreement for this account. Short-term credit was extended for good customer relationship. Also, at the bottom of the page of this account, it had note, this charge was contrived by debiting the account one day and crediting the following day for the same amount. What does the word contrive mean? You either fabricate, or you plan, or you scheme to defraud. Note also, computed rates per annum for interest charge was 176.83%.
Wow.
On the second account, interest amounts January 1995 through December 1996 total $7.9 million. On the third account, interest amounts from January 1995 through December 1996 total $9.2 million. I know as a fact from one of the titles Mr. Ramsey showed me prior to his death, where $126 million was fraudulently registered on said title, totally unknown to him.
Hold on. You said fraudulently, which meant somebody went
Somebody
in
else.
and borrowed
Somebody within
money.
the bank. Money.
Somebody within the bank went in and borrowed money against
$126 million on his title.
against his property without him knowing. Now, hold on. That is fraud. That is fraud.
Something not right,
Now,
my wisdom warriors. Something is not right. Tell about them.
All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way.
so the government of Jamaica did not pursue that
They didn't even respond. They did not even respond. Mr. Ramsey literally lost the will to live and refused to be hospitalized or to eat until he succumbed to his brokenheartedness, and he died shortly thereafter. His wife called me a few weeks ago. She got an invoice from Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation for her husband for over $700 million for interest charges.
But here's the key thing. I mean, the interest charges, that alone, by the way, Jamaica has laws about how much interest they can charge, right? And the interest rate is a maximum of 20%. But did you know that they exempt the big banks from that? Only if me and you are lending each other money,
Exactly.
They are so ridiculous. But
if they're even going to exempt the bill banks, they don't exempt Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation.
No.
Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation is writing her this letter.
Oh, yes.
How much you owe.
So our government doesn't work for us, and I keep saying that over and over. So here, what they should have done, what you're telling me now, there were fraud involved, meaning within the bank itself, there was fraud involved, and none of those people have gone to jail.
And when you aid and abet fraud,
exactly,
you're just as guilty.
Exactly.
So every one of those people in the House of Parliament, as far as I'm concerned, they're criminals.
Yes. And they have sat on this for years. And the reason why we don't get a report is because they don't want all of it to come out in a contextualized way. They want it to be shadowy, shady, unclear. Just like the Integrity Commission's report right now on the Prime Minister. They keep all of these things muddled so that we can cuss in public. We can cuss in public and have innuendos, and the Prime Minister of today can get up and say all kinds of things as if he has righteous indignation against all of this, when he is culpable. He's a part of it.
And then they benefited too, because I remember one Sunday afternoon, before they threw us out of our house, a friend of my husband called him and asked him if he was Finsac, and he said yes. But why you ask? Because this young man was at a house that very Sunday evening where there were government ministers with the properties, they're selecting which properties they want.
Yes, because let me explain this to people. What was going on here now? Now you have a situation where, operating through a fraudulent entity called Finsac, a private entity pretending to be a public entity, right? Now getting power to go and seize people's assets and then deciding to sell these assets to whomever they please, at whatever discounted rate they please.
Want to give it to them.
They can come. Let's say Joseph Patterson was around at the time, because I was a young man then, with no assets. But let's say I was like your husband and you and had good assets that we've built up over many years of our hard work. They could say, "Me no like you, me no." So you have a debt now that is caught up in this thing, right? We don't like you because you are trying to build UIC or whatever the case may be. We could just simply know, let's go after him, because when I went and borrowed the money at 18%, believing I'm borrowing from a normal bank with normal procedures and I would have normal years to pay off my debt. Now it's suddenly come to 120%. I can't service that anymore. I'm in trouble. They just come in now and just buy up my debt.
Buy properties, but you don't even know sometimes. You don't know who buy yours.
You don't know because they're not buying it. They're not buying
the person who bought always had political affiliation.
Remember, they're not buying it from you, the debtor. They're buying it from the bank that is now in trouble, right? So they come in and they take over your debt from the bank, buy it, they claim, but it's really confiscating it. And then now they say, listen, we're going to sell this debt of Miss Baker to somebody else, whoever that is, who gets it for pennies on the dollar. So the debt might be worth $1 and they get it for 5 cents.
All right, so a lot of the things now, when I really listen to the reasoning, it really puts things into context. And I don't want to say much, right? I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. What does this, and I would love for Mystic Sensation to do a reaction to this. I would love for Mystic Sensation, my general. He is an investigator, right? Would I love for a finance? Would I love for? We just want this put to rest. I want us to have open and transparent and honest dialogue about Finsac. We want to have, and I don't know if we can have it. Is it that what we as the people are the 70? I am part of the 70% that not vote, that don't vote, right? Is it that we the people, that is the 70%, have it right all along? That the JLP and the PMP is not too different from each other, and in some cases they cover them one another asses, right? Them are play this game as if them against each other. And I'm not talking about in recent times. I think in recent times the energy towards each other is more real than it was back in the day. I think back in the day them did really like sit down and have dinner with one another and be cordial and them something. I think now, even the other day when Andrew Wallace never got to Mark Golden mother funeral, I mean, that was disgraceful. I think there's a real bad energy between the entities them now in the PMP and the JLP. I think there's a small difference from now and then. Not a big difference, you know. A small difference, a difference enough. I still hold to that. Right? However, we need to be honest about the Finsac situation. The Jamaican people, I believe, should be, they need to apologize to them. Both parties need to apologize to them for the contribution that they made in these people's suffering. Whether it was them designing it in a way for them to actually help, you know, the intentions or whatever the case might be, but the reality that it boiled down to had persons still bitter from that time till now. And you can clearly see that this lady is not bitter, but she is definitely not happy with what was done to her husband and her in that time. And listening to what she's saying and the evidence that she's coming with, from a consumer perspective, who in the world can blame her? Tell me one sensible person that can blame her. Oh, not gonna blame her. This have nothing to do with PMP and JLP. She about the two of them. Two of them she about. Two of them she about. What you mean no sound? What you mean by no sound? No sound? No, something wrong with the ear, Karen, something wrong with the ear thing, man. My microphone work very, very well.
And then they in turn now, so there are some people in Jamaica now who have gotten very wealthy, and they now try to pass off themselves as being shrewd entrepreneurs. They're now telling you that I man make my money already, you know. So
yeah, exactly.
So I man make my money already, and they're talking as though they made legitimate money. But it's not legitimate. You're a part of a scam, and Jamaica is full of scams.
Yeah, but Dr. Davis testified. The banks were, he literally verbatim, that at the inquiry he testified, the banks were dealing in activity that would turn my hair white. And he stipulated that documents were sent to the Director of Public Prosecution. Why would a document be sent to them if there wasn't criminality? And what became of those documents?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. That's a very good question. Why would documents be sent to the DPP if there wasn't any criminal activity? Let's play that back. Let's play that back. Let's play that
Dr.
back.
Davis testified. The banks were, he literally verbatim, that at the inquiry he testified, the banks were dealing in activity that would turn my hair white. And he stipulated that documents were sent to the Director of Public Prosecution. Why would a document be sent to them if there wasn't criminality? And what became of those documents that went to the DPP? What happened after that?
So right now, while they're dropping words on each other, right? Each of them drop words on each other. They're really colluding. The two parties are colluding to deny the Jamaican people access to information, and they're now putting out half-baked, incomplete, convoluted information to once again divide the people. Because what happened, you have PNP blame GLP and GLP blame PNP.
I have to admit, the man does have a point. This Finsac report needs to be put out because it's definitely creating a divide between the people of Jamaica. Oh, a PNP fault. Oh, a JLP fault. How about maybe it's both of them fault? And let's get to the specifics of who specifically within the PNP and the JLP is both their faults. Let's get the names. Let's get the full report, shall we? And Mr. Mark Golden, sir, when you win the next election, we are charging you to make sure the full report, all reports, SSL, Finsac, every scandal known to the PNP and the JLP. We need a full report of every. It is time to lift up the skirt of both parties, and wherever the chips fall, let them lay. We are tired of the hypocrisy. We're tired of the game. I know I am. Are you? Are you guys tired? Because I know I am. I'm sick and tired of this shit.
They have always gotten us in that mess where we're busy now cussing each other rather than realizing that it's two Samphire man in a business. It's two Samphire party, and they're playing us against each other and hiding the facts from us.
Oh, and just so you know, Mr. Mark Golden and what's his name? What's his face? The Prime Minister, number 28. This is the mentality of 70% of the Jamaicans. That's why the voter turnout is less than 30%. God help you too, both you parties, if that 70% wakes up and votes for the UIC. God help you. God help you. It's going to be over for both of you. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be over for both of you. Real talk. I ain't lying. I am not lying. So if you guys continue to lie or hype, give people half truths, and I'm talking to both the JLP and the PNP, well, the Great Awakening is happening. That's all I'm saying.
I want to play something else for you, Madam Baker and our viewers, just so we get a little bit more context again about this. So follow me on this one here.
Okay.
Another report.
Well, the United report detailing the events that led to the collapse of the financial sector in the 1990s has been languishing, and the opposition Jamaica Labour Party JLP says that's unacceptable. The opposition has been calling on the government to provide the additional funds the Finsac commissioners say is needed to provide its findings. Opposition Senator Dr. Christopher Tufton argues that the Finsac report is critical to understanding what led to a very difficult chapter in the country's history. He says the findings are also important to the overall reform of the financial sector.
They are still uncertain. We've had many theories, we've had many explanations, but the legitimate entity that was set up, that was established, Mr. President, to provide an attempt to understand the circumstances that led to the financial sector meltdown, and by extension, the benefits of learning from what went wrong so we avoid doing so in the future, is still inconclusive. And to my mind, if we are going to reform the system, which this forms part of, right, by allowing the central bank to have greater authority, greater power for oversight, then those reforms should flow from some policy position. And part of that policy should be influenced by our experiences, not just what we have to conform to internationally, but what our own experiences and the impact of those experiences on ensuring a properly functioning financial system.
The Finsac Commission of Inquiry was established by the former JLP administration in 2008. The commission began sittings in 2009 and was expected to last for 6 months. However, at the end of 2011, the commissioners did not produce a report. The commissioners have been demanding an additional $10 to $20 million to publish its findings. However, the government insists sufficient funds were already presented to the commission. Speaking recently in the Upper House, Dr. Tufton called on Justice Minister Senator Mark Golding to advise the government to provide the funds needed to release the report.
Now notice that the commission was started by the JLP administration pretending as if they care and if they really wanted a report. You heard Christopher Tufton being very adamant on how important it is, but later on you're going to see that they really don't care one level or another. And now they're making it the issue of an additional 20 million. Now later on you're going to hear Nigel Clark telling us that they're going to set up all kind of university fund for them to study the issue, and it can be good for academics and so on. So they're going to find money for that, but they could not find money to give us the final report. They already spent over $150 million and going to use money as the excuse for not presenting the report. But let's hear the rest.
So I want to use the opportunity, Minister, to make a call to the government, through you, to revisit the Finsac issue. Let us try to bring some conclusions to it. If for any no other reason, to inform those who will be placed in the position to provide personnel capacity oversight to ensure that the legislation that is being proposed today, which I support, can be administered in a manner that is as efficient as possible to achieve the ultimate objective of not getting back to where we have been in the past.
In response, Justice Minister Senator Mark Golding conceded that it's unfortunate that the Finsac report is not completed.
It is very unfortunate what has happened in relation to that Finsac inquiry. The commissioners were engaged, contracted, and have been paid. A great deal of time was spent, testimony was given, but they have not produced a report. And they have been arguing that more funds should be made available for that purpose. The Ministry of Finance has been seized with that issue. Some effort was made towards offering some support, but not additional remuneration. And that was not acceptable to the commissioners, and they are no longer seized with the matter. So that has been a very disappointing outcome.
However, he maintains that the country has learned significant lessons from the 1990s financial meltdown.
It is a fallacy to suggest that lessons have not been learned by the experience of the 1990s. Indeed, the emergence of Jamaica's current regulatory framework is largely based on the experience learned from that period.
By the way, he's the one that influences the regulatory framework. He's the one that actually advised the government on setting up Finsac and other things like that. You notice he can't even look straight up and speak powerfully because he knows that he's culpable in the matter. But let's continue.
That period has been extensively studied by the persons who were involved in it from a regulatory point of view, and academia. A lot has been written on it.
Yeah, so that's more than enough to hear. Whoops. Sorry, one second. Your voice was gone. Go ahead.
Okay. The only politician when Bruce Golding was in.
Guys, hit the like button.
Because we had meetings with when David Wonken was assisting us with Daryl Vaz, different people in the different parties who promised that they would help. And there was a particular JLP minister that was about to buy one of the homes. And my understanding is that Bruce Golding called him and said, listen, you can't do that. Do not do it. It doesn't look good. And the person who was building the home, his mother was living in Trenchtown, and he bought the property up in Cherry Gardens to bring his mother out of Trenchtown. And from what I understand, the politicians got helicopter driving over because they wouldn't let him in to look at the house. And it came out in the Sunday Gleaner one Sunday morning, and the writer of the article, I think, went to the gentleman, and he said he was not the one buying the house, his wife was. I mean,
Yo, that no funny still in about. You know when things just, and I do it all the time. I'll be listening to stuff and I'll be talking and then I'll be remembering things and it just boils my blood and I just laugh. I'm like, yo, John, he didn't buy it, his wife did. Wow. You don't see the conflict of interest, sir?
You know,
I tell you, one of the bad thing about this, one of the women who was literally thrown out of her house. Actually, she was a head of the JTA in Jamaica for years and taught at different high schools. The woman, 81 years old, she taught Dr. Peter Phillips, and they threw her out of her house.
What?
81 years old.
81 years old.
What?
And by the way, I heard Omar Davis make statements that persons from the JLP side had come to him while the whole thing was going on and beg for special treatment, beg for special arrangements for their loans and for their properties and for their assets. So the connected few were bailed out from either side. And I remember Ronnie Tweed, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's Ronnie Tweed who said that this whole Finsac, yes,
bailouts.
This whole Finsac thing, said Ronnie Tweed, was the...
Hey, mommy got documentation. Yeah, she got documentation, bro. So the PNP and the JLP, man, y'all can't tell me nothing. I don't want to hear it from either side right now. Yeah, I'm in my feelings right now. That's my feelings. Facts and evidence, however, I want to have a discussion. 81 years old, bro. 81 years old. 81 years old. And you kick her out. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take this opportunity to say this. And I'm going to go. I'm going to leave it right there. You guys need to go watch this full interview on UIC. UIC Jamaica. Yeah, y'all need to go sub up. Alright? Y'all need to go sub up. I am going to copy the link. And I'm going to drop it in the chat. Alright? Y'all need to go sub up, man. That's the link I just dropped. Let me say this, ladies and gentlemen. As a community, black people, African, whether you want to call yourself maroon, melanated, I don't want to say melanated, man, black folk, alright? Black folk, we are the ones that are behind the totem pole in financial literacy. We need to start pooling our resources together, teaming up, right? Having people from our community that are actually, I would love for Mystic to review this. Somebody can go in this chat and say, Mystic, Bolo is asking you to review the video of Mr. Patterson on the UIC, interviewing the lady about Finsac. I would love for him to go over this video. But anyway, we need to increase our knowledge of finances and economic literacy and all of that. The reason why I say that, if we were so educated, there's no way a lady at 81 years old could lose her property to anything. I don't think y'all heard me though. I said, I don't think if we are financially literate, we would find ways. Give me a second. Yeah, I think we need to find, sorry about that, guys. I think we need to find economic and, financial knowledge. We need to incorporate that, because you could have your assets in a way where you can never lose them. You know what I'm saying? And you would not have to borrow funds on the back of assets for you to ever lose them like that. So you could have trust funds, security and generational wealth passed down. Every time somebody passes away in the family becomes 10 times richer, passing down to the next generation. This is literally how the Rock Brothers and all of them did it. Literally, the evidence of that is out there for us. The model is there to follow. We need to stop playing, and we need to start putting in that work. You feel me? however long we have on this earth, however long the system is where we can play fair and legally and do things the right way, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. You know what I'm saying? All that good stuff. We need to take full advantage of it, but we got to be educated, man. We got to be educated, you know, and maybe if the Finsac, and I'm not blaming the victims, I'm putting it on everybody. Oh, Lord. All right, guys, my internet is going to die. Goodbye. Got to go. Lordy, lordy, lordy.